Imagine for a moment you can either afford food or a textbook you'll use for 6 months, then never touch again. It's a terrible decision to have to make, but it will probably be commonplace soon. My name is Michael Miller, and I will be explaining why the price of college textbooks are so absurd and why they will become even more so. In my speech, You Can't Afford It. I'll be talking about how prices are rising beyond inflation, the lack of regulation that allows it, and how this whole thing is basically an oligarchy. I am a college student who has been on the receiving end of such purchases. I have reviewed the average prices of textbooks through the last 30 years, and I have studied the findings of several independent studies, such as the ACSFA College Textbook Cost Study Plan Proposal by Dr. James V. Koch. Starting with the most obvious problem, the pricing and why it's rising. According to the College Textbook Cost Study Plan Proposal, between the years 1986 and 2004, the price of college textbooks have risen by 186%. This is twice as fast as any other type of book, at 6% per year against 3% per year. While that may not sound like a lot, join me on a small little adventure, where we publish 2 books in the year 1986. The first book is a college textbook. The other book is any other type of book, which we will call regular book. Both of these books start at a cost of $50, and if we follow them through the years of inflation, as you can see by this graph, the college textbook is rising significantly higher in price than the regular book, ending up at $85.15 as opposed to $142.71 in the year 2004, where the college textbook is 40% more expensive than it should have been. Why are the prices rising so much? Textbook prices are not regulated in any way, as opposed to regular books, which are regulated by tariffs, or children's books can't be too expensive. Those are laws. Even though college textbooks are an education expense, like tuition, which in itself is regulated, students are much less sensitive to the prices of these books than other consumers would be, because a textbook may be required for a course, and not getting that textbook could result in a lower grade than they otherwise would have gotten. This is called a captive market, where a group of consumers who are obliged through lack of choice to buy a particular product, thus giving the supplier a monopoly, or in this case an oligarchy. Much like Disney and the movie industry, a majority of the market is cornered by a select few companies, but this is slightly different than Disney, as instead of just the one owning 40%, this is several companies owning a lot more. The textbook market has 3 stages. People write the books, publishers produce them, and wholesalers sell them. The people part, the part where an individual who enjoys a subject will write a textbook, is fine. The other stages are the problem. Starting with the publishing stage, according to Simba Information, in 2015, the textbook publishing market made a total of $17 billion. This revenue was dominated by only 5 companies: Pearson Education at $7 billion, McGraw-Hill Education at $2 billion, Scholastic at $1.8 billion, Cengage Learning at $1.7 billion, Houghton Mifflin at $1.4 billion, leaving everyone else at $3.8 billion. Well, that sounds like a decent spread of the pricing. What's actually happening is these 5 companies make up 80% of the market, meaning whatever these 5 companies decide is the norm, no matter what everyone else thinks. This is the same with the wholesaler market, which is dominated by only 4 companies: Follett, Barnes & Noble, Nebraska Book Company, not the state, and College Bookstores of America. In conclusion, it can be determined that college textbook prices are beyond absurd, thanks to the rise above inflation, a lack of regulation upon the subject, and what is essentially a monopoly with the 5 companies. So, my advice to all of you, do what everyone does and pirate it.